Hey, what's up, guys? This is going to be a really quick response to Fiona. It's not intending to be combative or, just like some sort of debating type of video. It's mainly to try to see how she's going to work out these problems that she's caused for herself and try to also get an understanding on these inconsistencies of what she's been saying. What I mean by that is that the other night when she came into my room and she was using that article, she was now trying to conflate a hydrolysis reaction with dissolving, and they're not the same thing. An hydrolysis reaction is usually when you're cleaving some sort of molecule and you're getting a new end product of some kind. But she was using an hydrolysis reaction to start talking about how these different bonds, they'll start to come apart or break apart. But before, when she shared the video of ionic, or she linked the video of an ionic compound and a covalence compound, she said that when DNA is breaking down or dissolving in water, it doesn't break down. Right? But that's what she said before. She said it doesn't break down. So she's not only being, I don't know if I want to say dishonest, but incorrect by conflating the hydrolysis reaction with dissolving. She's going back on what she said and now trying to talk about, well, it'll break down, but it'll take a long time. Keep in mind that this is not what I'm talking about at all. I have not been talking about an hydrolysis reaction at all. I've been talking about dissolving. That's what I've been talking about. I've been talking about that sugar phosphate backbone, and because it has a partial negative charge at a cellular pH, that once it starts to attract those water molecules, it's going to start to break down because of that. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to start breaking apart into little individual pieces. That means that it's going to stay DNA, but it's not going to be in sequences anymore. It's not going to be some long strand of DNA that's going to be, in specific sequences. And in life, you need DNA in specific sequences because that's what's actually important. So I guess what I'm saying here is that we're not only having to deal with the situation of DNA breaking down in water, and I've shown articles and different sources, like I showed the other day, talking about how DNA is really fragile and will break down. Her video actually showed that too, that DNA will break down in water. It just won't break the same way that ionic compounds will break down. So I've confirmed this already, but this isn't the only problem now. But we're also now having to deal with what she's been talking about with hydrolysis reactions. We have to deal with the individual guanines and thymines and cytosines breaking down, and at the increased heat, it'll start to break down even faster. Now, this is a problem to me because I've done a lot of reading on the early Earth, and depending on the circumstances of the greenhouse gases, I don't think that they have a down pat answer, but in most studies that I've seen, the temperature of the early Earth would have been at about maybe 1800 degrees Celsius to about 200 degrees Celsius to maybe 150 degrees Celsius, 100 degrees Celsius. One study, maybe after about a couple million years, would have dropped to maybe about 30 degrees Celsius. But you have to think about that for a second, because at that heat, at the higher the heat, according to her article, with hydrolysis reactions not dissolving, the individual bonds are going to start coming apart at a faster rate, at a quicker rate. So before, when some of the bonds may have lasted 3,000 years or 70 years or 3 million years, at the increased rate, they might only last 7 days, 2 weeks, and so on, depending on the increasing heat that's being provided. So if we're looking at an early Earth, and we're not only dealing with the situation of dissolving, where the sugar phosphate backbone it's not going to keep it in sequences, it's staying DNA, but it's not going to be in sequences. You're also having to deal with the individual guanines and thymines and cytosines breaking apart. And again, I want to know why you're trying to conflate a hydrolysis reaction with dissolving to begin with, because you said that's not what happens when when it goes into water. It just goes into solution when it goes in water, and it doesn't break down. It goes into solution, as if that's actually an answer. So I mean, I don't know. I think you've you've made the problem so much worse for yourself. And I'm listening to some of these guys as they're talking to their hangouts. Oh, he's just been completely squashed on this. No, I mean, like, every angle we're talking about this from, you're making the problem worse for yourself. And I don't know why you are backpedaling like this. I've been trying to be humble about this. I've been trying to listen to you, Fiona. When you come into a room, I try to listen to you talking about this situation. But you're not making a point. You're not making it better for you in any way at all. You're only making it worse. You've now brought in the problem. You brought in a problem of a hydrolysis reaction where now the individual guanines and thymines and cytosines are going to start breaking apart. You're not only having to deal with it dissolving and how that sugar phosphate backbone, that partial negative charge, is going to react with the water molecules, because that's going to happen when it goes into the water. You got to deal with the individual sections starting to break apart, and I don't know. Sucks for you guys, I guess.